Okay, so let go ahead, Natalia, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So maybe because somebody said, can you flash a bio of the speaker? So maybe I can introduce myself.
Yeah,
I'm
I was just
Natalia
going to
Manola.
say,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm Natalia Manola. I am the CEO of OpenAir. I'm based in Athens, Greece, and I will just briefly present, what OpenAir does. So first of all, thank you for this great invitation. And this is not just a simple thank you. I think this is something that we need because I really enjoyed what I heard today already. So what I will do is I will present a bit, bits and pieces of the European landscape. First of all, who is OpenAir? OpenAir is a European infrastructure scholarly communication. You can see the map here. We were established as a legal entity in 2018. We have 47 members from 34 countries.
Sorry,
who are
Natalie.
the
Sorry to interrupt. We don't see your slides. Are you sharing your screen?
Okay, let me see. I thought I was sharing, but let me share again.
We saw them earlier, but they disappeared.
Yeah. Okay. How about now? Can you see now?
Yes, now we see your slides. Thanks, Natalie.
Okay, so you missed this slide, which is a really nice one. This is another picture. So the OpenAir is again 47 members trying to catch all of Europe. And then what I wanted to say about OpenAir is that we are a service-driven infrastructure. We are based on repositories. This is how we started, and we also now diversify beyond repositories, but they're still in the core of what we do. And this is something that will show up in my presentation. So I will go with the questions that you asked, Catherine. So repositories, why? So this is personal opinion, and also the experience from many. Is no hassle, open access, open science. And when we're talking now about repositories, we're talking about institutional repositories, data repositories, catch-all or all-purpose repositories, and this is something that we need to see where we position ourselves. So repositories is about institutional and community ownership. It's about community control of publishing and sharing. It's about preservation. But as we're moving into a more data-intensive developments in science, what we see is repositories are the basis and the community on how to build a data processing layer, for example, for data repositories, or text mining for publications, which could be leading to intelligent discovery, open science profiles for research assessment. So I'm just putting some ideas that we're working on in OpenAir. So this is the way we see why repositories are important. What is the status in Europe? So what we see is that most European institutions have a repository of some kind. Now many, with the European Open Science Cloud, which is a big policy push for data repositories, is that we are setting up national or thematic repositories, data repositories, and this is something that should be taken into account. Some are turning the institutional repositories also for long tail of science, which may not be fit for purpose for big science. What we also observe is that there are many national in place on the national level. Good examples is Portugal, Spain, Norway, Poland, Germany, France, UK, etc. So this is what we see. And again, this European Open Science Cloud is a really big push for repositories, because we're talking about fair data. And when we say data in NEOS, we mean any kind of research outcomes, which could be publications, data, and software. And then what we see now is a policy shift towards Diamond Open Access. So it's not just repositories, but it's open journal systems. What you see there is that from the Open Door repositories, and this map is taken from the Open Science Observatory from OpenAir, is we see just about 32% validated in OpenAir from Europe. What are the challenges? I think it's like repeating what everyone said, is lack of maintenance and upgrade to newest technology. I think this is the major key. What I hear from many researchers is that there are no clear workflows for pre-post sprint. So there's no researcher perspective. Somebody mandates researchers to deposit whatever they do research outcomes, but there's no clear vision for them why they should do it. On the technical level, we see no consistent use for PIDs, licenses, and linking. And then the repositories, now institutional repositories, are under libraries, often staffed and still not viewed from research as part of this, big data-intensive era. And this is where some of the national repositories for data come in, and they take all of the focus and the spotlight on them instead of the publication repositories. Developments in OpenAIRE and repositories. So OpenAIRE is a key actor in the European Open Science Cloud, and actually we're leading a working group in one of the big implementation projects for research product publications. So we are looking into these issues of technical issues of interoperability, not only for the metadata, but also for protocols of exchanging information for repositories and actual data. In OpenAIRE, we have, as of April 2020, this has increased 860 publication repositories and 52 data repositories, but this has increased. And what is interesting is, we all know about the guidelines. We did a study on Horizon 2020, so focusing on Horizon 2020 research publications. And what we saw is that there was an average of 50% of compliance for repositories to the guidelines. So that means is that even though repositories seem to follow the guidelines, this is far from fulfillment. Then in OpenAIRE we have such as usage counts and broker, which we think are in order to become one of the key services in research assessment. So it's not just practicing of open science, but what is the impact of open science? And the broker, which is exchanging metadata between the repository, we see an uptake, but it's not as fast as we wanted to have. Emerging services, what we are working on, I just put some, like MP service, connect gateways, amnesia, AII, which we think that if they are integrated repositories, they're going to give a boost to the services that they bring, especially some to data, some to publications. Then a wish list, as you said. So what would we like to see, or what is missing? Is, first of all, I don't think there is a clear vision of repositories, especially for publication within this evolving ecosystem, especially with the European open access push. It's a political thing, but it is something we need to work with. Or holistic view, integrated view, where the repositories are an integral part of a broader research ecosystem. What we see in many cases is simple procedures and workflow for the position. So we would like to see something like Zenodo, and then the curation maybe come afterwards. So there are pros and cons. And then the upgrade is especially in the eyes of the beholder, which in this case is the researcher. So why should researchers deposit? Is it because they have to, or is it because they see some value in it? What can CORE do to help? So I think it would be good to have CORE or a body like CORE to vision of repositories in the context of emerging development in Europe. Again, it's EOSC and Open Access Diamond. And this comes from a perspective of a policymaker. So if I am a policymaker or a funder or a rector, why should I put my focus into the repository? Because all I heard today was from the repository and the library community, not from the other side. Then what I would like to see is to coordinate a formal gap analysis. We've done a gap analysis. Minho has done a gap analysis for Europe. And I could see La Referencia, I could see something in the US, but how can we coordinate a gap analysis of repository infra to support policies, mandates, and their implementation, but with having, the researcher centric point of view. Is to develop indicators to track and evaluate progress of repository infrastructure. What does it mean? Is it the number of repositories? Is it is it the technologies? So how can we have these indicators and observatory for this? The prioritize technology developments and follow through repositories, platforms like Space, Dataverse, and whatever else. And then I like the idea of the shared platforms on the cloud. This is something that we could look into at a global level. Regional platforms, but a global level. So what are the how do we do that? And last but not least is could core facilitate activities like technology service exchange. What we found is that the La Referencia Open Air exchange was really, really helpful, also in the Open Air Canada. And in the past, what we have seen, and I have to state that, is that Open Air, because we started earlier, we were able, in order to to pass on technology and service exchange. But at this point, with the European Open Science Cloud and the Diamond Open Access, I think we are reaching our capacity. So what we will see is we would like to work with others in order to integrate technologies or import technologies from others that they have a need to, they have something need to offer. So this is what I would like, what I think CORE can do to help. Just a few ideas.
Thank you very much, Natalia. We can put you back up on the screen. There you are. Are there any questions for Natalia? Irina has her hand up.
Thanks a lot, Natalia. And it's rather a comment, not a question. Thanks for bringing Diamond Open Access in. And maybe this multilingual content discussion is one of the topics where we can engage with Diamond Open Access community, because I think we have similar goals, and it might be like a good entry point. And if you didn't hear Pierre Monier's presentation in French Open Science Conference, where he was saying that those boundaries between repositories and publishers are really getting blurrier and blurrier, I think it's a very interesting talk, and Pierre is involved in this Diamond Open Access project. So that might be a good person to talk to. And thanks for bringing this, Natalia.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think the theme of messaging or providing a more clear vision around the role of repositories, it has come out several times in a lot of our several of our other sessions. And so I think there's definitely some work we can do following this meeting to see if we can create some messaging that resonates more. And just to your point, Irina, about the Diamond journals, there is real convergence now with the Notify project. So yeah, so we really do need to, I think about how we can articulate all of this in a way that the broader community understands where things are going and the progress that's being made. Eloy, do you have a comment?
Very, very short one, and in a way you already did it. And it was triggered also by Irina. I think we need now to understand that, for instance, with Notify, we are Diamond Open Access. So repositories are part of Diamond Open Access. This is exactly, there are no boundaries between repositories and publishing services. That's exactly what we are trying to do. So there are differences. They are performing different roles, but the point of Diamond Open Access is the open access that is provided by institutional and community infrastructures, and this is exactly what we are trying to do with Notify.
But if I may, Loy, the message is not clear. The message to what the institutional decision makers know is that there is a role for repositories and there is a role for open access journals, and the message is not clear. So you may know it, but others don't.
Yeah, I think that's right. And so there's definitely work to be done around getting those messages, sharpening up those messages. Robin has her hand up.
Hello. Yesterday you may not have been able to join the whole thing, but yesterday we were hearing from our keynote speaker about, from the researcher perspective, the importance of local support and being seen to have the infrastructure through your own institution. And you're talking about the view of the researchers. And I'm just wondering what you think about, it sounds like you did hear other talks this morning about the different models, regional models about sort of, I'll summarize by saying bottom up networks and top down networks, maybe, being faster, bottom up ones needing more support. Just with all that in mind, I'm wondering what you think about the current and future picture with Europe and the Open Science Cloud. And I mean, I'm interested in data repositories, but that isn't the main focus here. And what the institution's role will continue to be or will become.
Okay, I think I lost you in some bit, but what I think is that what we have seen also in Open Air is that we have been developing services that we think that the researchers need. We have, I think we all of us, La Referencia, all the other networks in Japan, we have done very good work in building the community of repository managers and libraries around repositories. But now I think it has come that we need to have our services more centric. So if I take a repository, for example, and I have to fill in, I have to fill in a form in order for some librarian or repository manager to validate what my submission, then probably I will not do it. I will just go to Zenodo and just put it there, and I'm done with my mandates. So how do you make it easy? So even if I have to, and then if I don't have to, for example, how can repositories be linked to university CRIS systems? And now if we're talking about research, responsible research assessment, with the open science profiles, how can repositories, if it's green or if it's open journal systems, how will we how can we connect them to these really nice facilities that will have a value to me as a researcher, when I'm assessed. When I'm using, for example, a data repository, and I want to use Amnesia to anonymize my data in order to be okay with all the mandates about privacy data. How can I do it seamlessly with a single AI login? So I don't have to log into one system, do my data transfer. I would like to press a few buttons and be done with it. This is the kind of things that I think we're missing from repositories. And the bottom-up networks, okay, they are, but are they including researchers? For example, in Europe, we have this reproducibility network popping up, which consist of researchers, high-level researchers, entry-level researchers, and they are very much keen on working on open science. can we work with them together? I mean, this is something that we would like to do. Of course, there is no time to do everything, but this is something that we could consider. Just a few ideas. I mean,
Thank you so much, Natalia. We really appreciate you taking the time to